And now, a presentation of my Tony Award Performances 2023 tier list. We will do this semi-randomly by me drawing eggs. In this tier list, we have S tier, Stephen Sondheim. Spoiler alert, all Stephen Sondheim shows are not necessarily gonna be S tier. But he's the GOAT, so we gotta put him at the top if it's S tier. The A tier is gonna be Andrew Lloyd Webber because, you know, he did hold the record for the longest composer on Broadway, so we gotta give him some props, you know? Plus, I'm a secret Woman in White stan. Don't at me. Don't at me. Also, Whistle Down the Wind is actually really good. Anyway, our B tier is going to be Back to Before. We can never go back to before. Sorry. What? I didn't do anything. Back to Before performances are performances that were still good, but maybe they could have been better. Specifically, maybe they have been done better. Then we've got C tier, which is See It on a Tuesday, Please, which is a joke that I stole from Forbidden Broadway. Comment down below if you know what I'm talking about, because if you know, you know. And if you don't know, look it up. Oh my God, I could tell stories. So these are performances that weren't necessarily my cup of tea, something that could be someone else's cup of tea, but just didn't really resonate with me. And then we have our D tier. A D? Well, why are you telling me? And those are ones no shade to anyone. A little shade, maybe, but a very, very little shade. I think that they should have been cut from the broadcast. Ooh, and given more time to other things. Oh, I'm gonna get canceled. I already know this. April Anonymous, they were so young. Then I was young and unafraid. I'm done. First off, we have Into the Woods. Now, I liked the Into the Woods performance. Of course, Brian Darcy James is a vision. Sarah Bareilles is fabulous. And Kennedy Kanagawa, honestly, I want Milky White to step on me. And I would say thank you. However, I don't think I can give it an S tier. I just question the song choice. Anytime there's a person nominated for an award who doesn't get to perform with their show, it makes me kind of go, The fact that Julia Lester didn't get to perform, number one. The fact that neither Sarah Bareilles nor Brian Darcy James are currently with the show now, so it's not like it's a economic move to get people to buy tickets to the tour. It mostly kind of felt like a cynical situation to get Sarah Bareilles to perform and have her do something very much about her without it just being a solo. It just felt strange that of all the songs in the show, they chose to do It Takes Two, not feature anyone else in the cast, and not feature Julia Lester. I mean, I'm a big fan of a medley. You're gonna see this as we keep going. I just don't see why we couldn't have done a little bit of a medley moment. Is that wrong? So unfortunately, I've got to put Into the Woods on Back to Before. I'm sorry. I'm canceled already. Everyone's already unsubscribed. But that means it's just me in here and I can say whatever I want. Next up is New York, New York. Yet again, I am giving all of the hot takes today. The performance of New York, New York made me cry, which was amazing that they started off the show with it. After the whole thing about no writers and the writer's strike, and we had the beautiful dance number for the first singing number of the show to be such a love letter to the city I love, I may have cried like a baby. And I said this when I saw the show. It isn't a perfect show. It definitely has flaws, but the feelings it makes me feel, it makes me nostalgic for loving New York. I moved here 12 years ago, and when you've lived in New York that amount of time as a transplant, you've kind of gone through phases. You got to the city, you were all starry-eyed, you got jaded, you found your feet, and you got settled, and then you get jaded again. The city knocks you down, and it lifts you up over and over and over. And when I saw New York, it made me remember this moment I had while I was in college, where I just looked up at the water towers on the Upper West Side, and I thought, I can't believe I get to live here. And I don't know, man, when they first started playing the it made me feel some feelings, okay? You guys are gonna murder me. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I mean, I love her. Am I canceled? Am I canceled yet? Next up is going to be And Juliet. I have complicated feelings about And Juliet. I saw the show and I thought the first 15 minutes was some of the best jukebox musical production I'd ever seen. They were taking these songs and they were reimagining them and putting them in brand new context. I want it that way. Brilliant. Brilliant. The way they did Hit Me Baby One More Time, feelings within me. And I've never been a big pop person, so I don't have the nostalgic feelings of these shows. Honestly, the way I feel about New York, other people probably feel about And Juliet. Oh, and even more so probably A Beautiful Noise. I forgot the name of the show for a moment. Cancellation. We're just gonna put a cancellation counter down there at the bottom. How many times I get myself canceled through this video. So when they brought out the cast to sing Roar, and only Roar, no medley here. Again, I'm a medley person. It felt very one note. It felt like the things that I didn't like about the show. It felt like there was no story. It was all fluff, no substance. And as much as they're such fabulous performers, oh my gosh, Lorna Courtney, I can't wait to see what she does next. She's an amazing performer. Honestly, I was blown away by her. But the performance itself, oh God, I can't say it was for me. I can't say it was for me, but I'm sure it was for someone else. It's gotta go in C tier. Next up. Okay, next up is Shucked. Ah! Okay, I have to say, I'm going ahead and putting it up there right now. You guys can already tell what I'm gonna do. You guys can already tell. Shucked is true S tier, and this isn't even me being like S tier, like asterisk, like, oh, maybe S tier for me, but not S tier for everybody. Nah, this was an S tier performance. Medleys. In my opinion, the purpose of the Tony Awards, especially the performances, is to give the kids in the Midwest a taste of these shows so they know what they want to come see. Either when they want to come see it when it's on Broadway, when it's touring, or even just so the kids in the Midwest can have a snippet of this show to watch and get a feeling like they got a taste of that show. Shucked was an ideal example of how to do that. The medley was honestly perfect. I cannot imagine them doing anything different. We got little snippets of all of the big main characters. Of course, we got Alex Newell, who they were just fantastic, obviously. But we also got a little bit of Woman of the World, a little bit of Somebody Will. We got a feeling of what the show is about. It was the perfect trailer for Shucked, the musical, and I honestly wouldn't change a single bit of it, especially not the corn kick line. Favorite part. Honestly, though, I will say I'm really proud of them for showing off their two narrators, Ashley D. Kelly and Gray Henson, as much as they did, because those two were my favorite characters in the whole show. Not only dynamically cast, they were able to completely carry that show on their back. Without them being as good as they were, that show would not exist. I kind of wish they'd been nominated for something. They're such a duo that I don't see how they would have been, but I wish they could have gotten recognized in some way, and at least they got recognized by getting to perform so much on the Tony Awards. Also, I have to have a quick moment and just say that Kevin Cahoon, so good. I'm literally stealing so much from Peanut I'm in Bat Boy the Musical right now and I'm playing Ned. And my character of Ned, I'm literally stealing so much of Peanut. I think I rambled about Shucked long enough. Clearly you can see I enjoyed it. Next up is Sweeney Todd. And you guys are not gonna like my opinions on this. You guys aren't gonna like it. Annalee Ashford was nominated for a Tony, but did not get to perform. Why? Why? I get it. You wanted to show off. You've got Josh Groban and Gaten. But come on. I did really enjoy that they showed off the ensemble. But couldn't you have given me a medley? Give me a tiny snippet of Worst Pies. Or, if you really want Gaten in there, give me a little bit of Not While I'm Around. Give me just like a tiny snippet of that with them together and then move into Attend the Tale or something. But 30 seconds. 30 seconds of something. Again, I don't know. Maybe some of the reason why these medleys aren't happening is maybe Annalee Ashford said, I'm good. I just want to sit here in my pretty dress and not have to be Mrs. Lovett tonight. But at the same time, I wanted it. I wanted it. And it's all about me, isn't it? So unfortunately, Sweeney Todd, you're going to back to before. How ironic is it that we've had 2 Sondheims this season and neither one went in the Stephen Sondheim tier? And that one is on me. We're adding another to that cancellation. We're adding another to our cancellation count down at the bottom. Everyone needs to take a drink every time I get canceled. All right, next up. Kimberly Akimbo. Okay, I really enjoyed Kimberly Akimbo. Oh my gosh, I love the show. So happy for it that it won all of the awards it did. Can you guys already tell I'm not putting it in S tier because of all of the couching I'm doing right now? When the number first started, I said, I am so excited that they picked a number that involved a lot of acting. I was so happy that they didn't just pick an opening or closing number. I loved that we got to see Vicky Clark do her thing. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. Which, by the way, so is her standby. The first time I saw Kimberly Akimbo was with the standby. She deserves so much love to have to fill those shoes when she does. I was really excited that they picked a number with a lot of acting. However, again, like with Annalee Ashford, Bonnie Milligan nominated for a Tony. And you're not gonna give me even a snippet of Aunt Deborah. Not even a little. Not even a taste. Again, I don't know what the politics are, but I would have loved to see her singing about making someone's shitty life better. I would have loved to have seen at least a snippet. At least something small. Give me 30 seconds. She's nominated. She's nominated. However, it was still such an amazing depiction of what you're getting when you go see the show. So as much as I was disappointed not to see Bonnie Milligan, I still have to put Kimberly Akimbo in A tier. Kimberly Akimbo was a great example of a little mini trailer of what you're getting when you go see the show. You get the earnestness of the young performers, the gravitas of Victoria Clark being able to play both older and younger at the exact same time. And I was so excited that we got to see her embody that character and then go on to win that Tony. Spoiler alert. In case you didn't know there were going to be spoilers on my Tony Award rankings. All right, next up. Okay, so A Beautiful Noise. I get it. Jukebox musicals are so popular. I get it. I kind of joked earlier that New York, New York was my jukebox musical. The second I heard New York, New York, the song start playing, already bawling. I'm sure there are people out there that the same thing happened when they heard the opening bits of Sweet Caroline. I am not one of those people. I had to sing that song on cruise ships so many times. I have no affection toward the music. It felt very boring. Again, no shade on the performers. Oh my God, no shade on the performers. I'm not trying to speak ill on Will Swenson at all. I think he's a fabulous performer. I loved him in Hair. However, it's not my bag. And A Beautiful Noise was nominated for 0 Tony Awards. This is gonna be my very first D tier. I think maybe their performance should have been cut and the time should have been added to other things. If they'd cut a couple numbers, they could have maybe added like 30 seconds. If we're saying 4 minutes per number, let's say you cut 2 of them, that's 8 minutes that then you could disperse among the other 9. That's almost a minute each, isn't it? Oh my God, it is. That way you could give me some worse pies. You could give me some Shitty Life Better. I know that's not how this works. I know the producers are the ones who make these decisions, but it's still a D tier from me. It's a no from me, dog. Anyway, let's move on. Next up is Camelot. Camelot. I want to see this so bad. I actually have not seen this one and I want to see it. I was shocked it wasn't nominated for more than it was, especially given Bartlett Sher's reputation and Lincoln Center's reputation. I wonder if this is a move away from old-timey revivals, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, but I still really want to see it. So I don't have a lot to say in terms of judging the show as a whole, but you know I love me a medley. You know I love me a medley. So I really enjoyed the fact that this was a medley. We got to see Lancelot, we got to see Guinevere, we got to see Arthur, we got to see it all come together. However, honestly, I could have seen less Arthur. I don't know, maybe it's because I haven't seen the show, but I felt like they didn't necessarily feature him as well as they could have. I felt like the choice of songs for him was a little basic. I feel like they could have maybe done What Did the Simple Folk Do, or something that showed a little more personality for him, as opposed to starting off with Knights of the Round Table and then we're Knights of the Round Table, as opposed to starting with that and then having him end with Camelot. I wish that they would have given him maybe something that showed a little more personality, because that's one of my favorite parts about Arthur in the original. Now, I don't know, maybe they've changed up his character. I loved, oh my gosh, I'm so glad they picked May, the lusty month of May. Philippa Sue can lead me astray anytime. What? I didn't say anything. 0 things were said by me just now. Wink. I loved getting If Ever I Would Leave You. Oh, if ever I would leave you. Oh, could it be in springtime? Seeing you in springtime, I never would go. The music is just Lerner and low. Lerner and low. Am I gonna put this in S tier or A tier? It's kind of straddling the line for me because I feel like it did so much right, but I did just kind of feel like the Arthur bits were not as well chosen as they could have been. Now, that could be because of the show, but I think I'm going to put it in A tier. It's still so good. Love me a medley. So glad they did that. I wish maybe they would have come up with something a little better for Arthur. Let's see what's next. All right. We got another one for me to gush over. Oh, Parade. Oh, Parade. Another one I haven't seen. Another one I haven't seen yet, and I want to so bad. But, oh my goodness. I feel like, especially with this show, the true heart of this show is Leo and Lucille Frank, and the fact that we got this song, This Is Not Over Yet. It's just the perfect encapsulation of what that show is going for. It's giving you Leo, it's giving you Lucille, it's giving you that heart and that sweeping music and that beautiful forward drive that Jason Robert Brown is so good at. Honestly, I gotta give it an S tier. I loved it so much. That performance made me so angry that I have not seen that show yet. And it makes me so desperate to see that show, and also so devastated because I know I probably won't get to now. All right, next up, which is gonna be, all right, Some Like It Hot. I really enjoyed seeing this show. I feel like there were some things that were done really right in this show and some things that were done really wrong in this show. Christian Bale's character is just terrible. And I know he's supposed to be, and I know he is in the source material, but God, he's terrible. God, he's terrible, and just reinforces so many bad trans stereotypes. But on the other hand, Jay Harrison Key's character, they were just everything. I'm non-binary myself and use they, them pronouns, and I felt so seen by that performance, and it was a revelation on Broadway. and I would not trade getting to see that for the world. However, I would like to cut Christian Borle's character out entirely. The performance on the Tonys was really well done, but I feel like it was just more about almost like it was gunning for that best choreography and didn't lean into the things that made it so good, which is the humor and the heart. If I saw that performance, I wouldn't necessarily go, let's drop everything and go see Some Like It Hot. I would be like, oh, okay, well, if it's at the TKTS office, I'll see it. Not like the way that Shocked or Parade made me feel. So even though I really enjoyed the show, and there wasn't anything particularly bad about the performance, I just felt like it wasn't highlighting what I needed to see. It felt very blah, which sounds so terrible because the performers were going above and beyond. It's just when you're given that short amount of time, you really do need to have a through line and a story. Otherwise, it feels like you're just showing me a thing. And I guess I just didn't get it. I guess that's on me. I just didn't get it. So I'm going to give it a C tier. Which I didn't actually think I was going to give it a C tier until I started talking. Maybe I talked myself into it. I don't know. Cancellation number going up, which leaves us with one final option, my friends. Here we are at the end of the road and at the end of the Tonys night. This was the final performance. Why was it the final performance? In a year where it wasn't nominated for anything because it couldn't be nominated for anything because it didn't come out this season. Oh, there's some quote where it's like, you would be so proud if you knew all the things I hadn't said. And now I'm going to say a bunch of things. So it's not that she sounded bad. She didn't sound bad. She was double timed because they were running out of time. It felt so unnecessary. She's not going to be in the tour. So why are we advertising for the tour? So that wouldn't make sense as an explanation. The show's closing in September. So it's not gunning for an extension or gunning for better ticket sales to keep it open. What it felt like to me, I'm about to get canceled again. What it felt like to me is somebody just really wanted to perform on the Tonys again, singing the same song again. I don't know what the possible reasoning could be for producers to spend all that money to put her on the Tonys, to not show off anything else about the show, because, you know, God, it just, if there had been any other showing off anything else about the show, you could try to justify it and say, oh, it's to promote the tour. But all it did was show off Lea Michele. Why? This is one that absolutely should have been cut for time. Absolutely should have been cut for time. Should never have been offered a slot to begin with, because it was not nominated. It was not in this season. At least A Beautiful Noise was in the season. Funny Girl was not in the season. And it just made no sense, especially not to be the 11 o'clock number. It had a place of prominence amongst these musicals. Oftentimes you could say that the 11 o'clock number or the closing number is the most highlighted spot of the evening. And they chose to give that to Lea Michele performing in a show that wasn't even nominated this season. It feels like a transparent ego stroke. And honestly, it was my least favorite part of the Tony Awards. It was one of the lowlights of the evening. Between that and them cutting off Jason Robert Brown when he wanted to eulogize Mary Fagan and Leo Frank. But it made me feel, whereas so many other things throughout the evening, the speeches on behalf of LGBTQIA+ and specifically trans kids, all of the speeches in support of the writers, it felt like this was like a sledgehammer where it went, but don't forget, we're a capitalist business and Lea Michele paid for this. You know? I don't know. Ooh, I kind of wish this one hadn't been last. I'm feeling like I'm ending on a bad note, but then again, I kind of wish this hadn't been last on the telecast. So here we go. We're putting it in D tier. A D? Well, why are you telling me? And that's my new philosophy. I'm 30 years old tomorrow, and I haven't worked since I played Annie when I was 10. Sorry. literally just talking to myself on a computer and I'm laughing so hard.